set up here. And tell me why you're here today, Susan.
Was it in the, I think it was in the 10th house, or was it in the 10th house? Okay, I saw your post in the 10th house. You were offering this, the 3 hour of coaching to use for your marketing material. But after I saw what you did and I filled out the questionnaire, I was super excited just to, one, be able to help, provide this for you, but also, in the space that I'm in as an operations and teams consultant and as a woman of color, I feel like there's so many barriers that we still have to work through as women of color, especially trying to delegate and ask for help. Because I know that that's one thing that a lot of my clients do have roadblocks with, and just trying to help them like overcome that is something that's going to help me tremendously, since that is primarily who I serve. And I get it because I grew up with a single mother, a Hispanic woman, never asked for help. She always figured it out. And I grew up the same way. And now being a business owner, we come in with the mindset that we have to do it all ourselves. But in order to grow and scale, that's not the case. Like, we have to be able to ask for help and not feel ashamed about it.
Yeah. So if we look back on this conversation in 6 months and you're like, April, that conversation changed my life, what would you need from this conversation? How would you know?
Um, I think even for myself, I still go through those roadblocks. So just really, um, I guess just really helping the mindset of like, we don't have to do it all. Like, it's okay to ask for help. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're a failure or anything like that. And really just being able to shift that mindset, like, as a woman of color, yes, we do have to work harder. Yes, we do have to show up differently. But that's okay, because we are different from everyone and we don't have to be like everyone else. Um, and helping women just like realize that, and like overcoming the perfectionism as well. I know that, again, just, it's funny because more than one of my clients have said it to me, like, we have to work harder because we are women of color. We can't mess up. We can't show up in certain ways because they're looking at us. I think it's that fear of like, oh my God, if I mess up, like, I'm going to just prove whatever notion that white men have about us is true, you know?
A lot of things coming up for me.
Yeah, I bet.
Um, I'm just taking a moment to breathe. Um, we can't solve the problems of the world here. We can't solve for everyone else. What we can do is focus on you in this moment. And I'm hearing there's an impact that you want to make in the world that is helping women to shift into asking for help without shame, and also out of the mindset blocks that keep them from showing up more powerfully. So what do you need?
I guess just um like that reassurance, like that I don't have to show up a certain way because other people are showing up. Um and the realization that I am enough, and that just because I don't speak a certain way, sound a certain way, dress a certain way, look a certain way, that I still can make a difference. People still need me. And there is an audience out there for me. Especially, and then it's funny because coming into this online space and doing what I do as, operations and things like that, when I was going for, my certifications and things like that, I noticed the same thing that most of my peers, well, in this world, were white women. So again, it was coming into the space and be like, oh man, I have to show up again, like a certain way. When I used to go on even job interviews, I would straighten my hair. My hair is super curly, and I would tie it up in a bun or straighten it, to make it more, calm and not as big and puffy and things like that. Um, and speaking like Hispanic, I people say I have a thick accent, even though I don't hear anything. Like this is just me. This is my voice. So when people point it out, I was like, well, why? Why? Like, why do you have to point out the fact that I have an accent or I sound a certain way or anything like that? Or just because I don't use big sophisticated words. Like I know I'm smart. I know what I'm doing. Um, and I know how I can help my clients. So what does that have to do with anything?
It sounds like you know. Intellectually, you know all the things. I know I'm smart. I know I got an audience. I know I got clients. I know people need me. Okay. You know it. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I know it. But I think because of the way that just in media in general, how they usually market things and things like that, just because, um, again, because I don't look a certain way, they'll probably, oh, well, it doesn't look as smart as like this white female who's been doing it for like the past 10 years and comes from corporate America. Okay, great. But can they relate to you? I sometimes even run that, I run into those issues. And I don't know if it's just me, my mental block of like, dang, like this this person got it over me because she's a white female who comes from corporate and speaks this way and sounds this way and looks more sophisticated or more corporate America versus me, who I come in with this big poofy hair and on it on my head and things like that. And I'm younger and I don't come from like a Fortune 500 company or anything like that, but I can still do what she does and I can relate to you. We come from the same background, but you still chose her because she seems more professional. So
Do
it's
they?
just things like that.
So let me. Do they say that to you? We chose her.
No, I think it's me putting those thoughts in my head, and I know I am. Do they say that? No, but that's what I think they're thinking when I see who they chose over me.
I find that as a woman of color who was in tech and wrote code, was the only one, only black woman, youngest woman, right? That I carried more perceptive prejudice than was really reality. And what I'm noticing in this conversation is a lot of what you believe they think about you. The dangerous part with that is we create from what we believe. So we create our experience from what we believe. And that means that whether it's real or not, the perception that we have is our reality. I had a client who she thought that jobs were hard to get. So she came to me. She said, April, I'm a mom. I have to live a certain. I need a certain proximity to home because I have two boys. I also have all of these gifts and all these skills, but it seems like they're all over the place. Nothing fits neatly into a particular job, so I'm having trouble getting a job. I feel like they're not giving me a job because I work too far. I have too many stipulations, if you will, too many things that are keeping me stuck, and I can't figure out where I fit. She'd been struggling for some time. In our work together, what I helped her to do is shift from jobs are hard to get, which is what she believed, jobs are hard to get, to jobs are easy for her to get. And in less than 6 weeks, she got 3 job offers without ever updating her resume or applying for a job. I tell you that because, well, first, what do you take from that?
One, that's amazing. And two, and it's something that I've been working on also. Like, when I don't know if I want to use like the word manifestation, but like you manifest something, it can come to you. It's the way that you think. I think that, especially like me now versus me 10, 20, 10, 15 years ago, where I would tend to see the negative versus the positive. Like, you attract that, and I've noticed that, and especially after becoming a mom. Like, if you think negatively, you're going to attract the negative.
Yes. How do you attract it?
It's your thoughts, your mood, the way you act, the way you behave, um the way you think. You're always a Debbie Downer, everything around you is going to be negative. I've definitely worked on that, where it's like, see more of the positive. Where can this be different? How can you see the light at the end of the tunnel versus just be like, oh, the world sucks.
Yeah. It's not just our thoughts. It's not just like I think about 9/11 or I think about a terrorist attack and a terrorist attack happens, right? It's not just our thoughts. And of course, that's an unfair example because we can't make other people do things, right? But from the perspective of our thoughts create our feelings and we act from feelings. So if your thought is they're not going to like me because my accent or my hair's not straight enough or for some reason there's something that you think they feel about you, you will act from that place and it will dull your confidence, right? Having your confidence dulled could be the reason they feel like you're not a good fit. They feel like you're not a good fit, right? But what does that do? That reinforces lack of confidence. And it also reinforces the story that for some reason you're not good enough. You're not white enough. In the case of my client Dawn, by shifting her thoughts to jobs are easy for her to get, she was able to see more possibility to create, not just where she fit. Forget that. That's not important. Where she added. Not a culture fit, but a culture add. And from that place, shifting her thoughts, shifted her feelings, and then she acted differently. Hey, I'm not looking to fit. I'm looking where I can add. And
Yeah.
I see opportunities to add everywhere. So I'm going to just tell people, hey, would you like help with that? 3 job offers, no resume change, no applying for a job. She's in a mixer and she's just doing her thing. Energy different because her thoughts are different, feelings different, actions different.
Yeah.
You know what? I should hire you. You know what? You should. Right? Confidence came from her thought shift. That's where it started. And I bring it to you because you're talking about, I think it's really positive. You said, I'm trying to change my thoughts and be more positive. I actually invite you to change your thoughts to imagine the possibility. Not for you to fit, but for you to add. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And I'm hearing a lot of beliefs that honestly probably aren't yours. You probably got this from the media and different things and experiences that have happened, sure, right? But this sounds a lot like trauma responses, either from
Yeah,
what you've experienced or from what you know others have experienced.
absolutely.
Fair? In which
Yeah.
case, that's the biggest block. What you believe about you.
Fair.
In any conversation, there are three things that are happening. There's what you think about you, what you think about them, and what you think they think about you. Those things are never the same. And I'm hearing quite a bit of disconnect. What you think about you versus what you think they think about you. And also, you can't know what they think about you, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people will show you by their actions what they think, but generally, most of us are pretty good at hiding. Many of us are pretty good at hiding. Not all of us, right? So let's talk about the possibility. You with these tell me your story.
Let's see. So I grew up in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island, the single mom, two girls. I'm the oldest. Um, she worked two jobs, and she did like when I say she did everything, she was mom, she was friend, she was dad, she was the world to me and my sister. But, as a single mom, it's tough. Um, I'm the responsible one, if you will, of me and my sister. My sister's more free spirited, has a lot of friends, and super extroverted, and likes to have a bunch of people around her. And I'm the complete opposite. I'm an introvert. I'm very quiet. I observe before I open up. Um, I am a planner. I am a control freak. um, Went to school, went to college, got my bachelor's, got my master's, worked in a job for 9 years before becoming an entrepreneur. Again, super planner. I was like, I'm gonna have my house by the time I'm 30. Got that. Waited 3 more years before I had my first child. Did that. And then after I had her, that's when a lot of my mindset started changing after I became a mom.
Why do you think that?
Um, just viewing the world differently now that I have someone else to be responsible for. Again, going back to the whole trying to be more positive versus seeing the negative first. Um, just trying to be a good example for her. And as much as I appreciate everything my mother has done for me and my sister, I want to rewrite that story where it's like, I don't have to struggle. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I want to be able to pay for her college if she decides to go to college. Um, if she says, Mommy, I want this, I want to be able to say yes without having to log into my bank account to check if I have the funds. Um, just being able to take advantage of the opportunities that I have that my mother didn't have.
So let's notice something. I asked you to tell me a story. Cool. And you talked about growing up in Rhode Island, single mom. You're the oldest of two. So am I. You're the responsible one, control freak, planner. Went to college, got the BA, checked the boxes. 9 years as in job, and then became an entrepreneur. Bought the house, had the kid, lined up things. You're telling me a lot about your mom, and you're telling me a lot about what you've accomplished. So tell me who you are.
I'm a mom. I'm a business owner. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. Not a wife, but I am a girlfriend. We do live together. And who am I? I love to travel. I hate cooking. I love a clean house. I'm a forever learner. I like learning. I think education is super important. That's what I can think of off the top of my head. It's hard to talk about yourself.
And what's curious to me is you're still kind of describing who you are in the context of other people. I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm a sister, friend, girlfriend. You haven't told me who you are. And here's what I mean. What energizes you? I can't hear you.
My daughter and my business.
Curiously, a business is like a baby. So,
Yeah, it's my second baby.
what about it energizes you? Your business and your daughter. What about those two things?
Um, she's different from me, and I love that. She's silly. Mind you, she is a toddler, so of course she's silly. But I don't recall being like that as a toddler. And I'll ask my mom, like, was I like that? No. She's like, but there are similarities. She's very independent. She wants to do everything on her own. Um, the moment she wakes up, it's like she wakes up the house. She's a lot of fun. And when I'm with her, I'm not thinking about anything else. Just me and her. My business, I love to work. I've always been a workaholic. And I think not to mention her again, but I get that from my mom. In my 20s, I worked 2 jobs before I became an entrepreneur. But I love working. It's my passion. I guess hobby turned passion. uh, I love helping my clients. I love seeing them win. And I love the fact that I get to do that for them. Like, and I get to see their journey from like the moment I onboard to the moment that either I offboard or it's a year later and just seeing that transformation. Like, yes, I helped her do that. I just love working.
Is it fair to say that you are energized by accomplishment?
Very fair.
And what I heard you say, tell me if this is right, you're energized by your daughter in part because she's very different from you and she's silly. It's not something what you described for me is you're the responsible one. Is that fair or
Yeah, she reminds me of my sister a lot.
what do you love about your sister?
Um, she's the life of the party. She's freaking funny. Um, she's talented in ways that I am not. She's creative.
Let me slow you down just 1 second. There's some emotion coming to the surface. Let's honor it. What's happening for you right now?
That I wish my sister could see that about herself. And I wish that her path was different from mine. I don't know how to help her.
If you could help her, if you could help her accomplish what you want for her, what is it that you want?
I want her to find something that makes her happy the way I've been able to find that.
And why does it make you emotional?
I feel bad.
Why?
If she's lost and I can't give her the answer, she has to figure that out on her own.
There you are, responsible one, taking care of a little sister. I get that. I'm a firstborn. My sister and I are 7 years apart. And that instinct to protect is very strong. I get it. My baby sister actually is pregnant right now. And the moment she said it, I was just like,
Exciting. Oh my God, that was me when my sister got pregnant. Mind you, she got pregnant at 18 years old. I was 21. And I was like, oh, you got pregnant. But my nephew is like, he's my world.
yeah, that instinct to protect is really strong. Here's what I'm seeing about you, Susan. And I don't mean this in any negative way. I actually mean it in the way that I see you, because there are lots of similarities in how you are and I see in myself. Here's what I see about you is that based on what you told me, you tell me what you accomplish and you tell me about the people you love. Do you know who you are?
Not 100% no. I think I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah. And that's fair. I don't say that as a judgment. I want you to know I want to honor that. Because when you know who you are, there is a certain bit of confidence that comes in whatever you do, that your unique skills and gifts add to a situation, and you are happy to add, and you're also happy to, you can lead and you can serve at the same time, with family, in a job, wherever you might be needed. And I'm not sensing that's true. How does that land with you?
That's fair to say.
It's clear that there's a lot in you, a lot of emotion, a lot of people you care about, want to see them do well. When was the last time, though, you focused on you?
Fine. I'm trying. Um, I've added more self-care this year than I ever have in my life. But saying no sometimes is really hard, especially when it comes to my mom and my sister.
Yeah, I get it. I very much so see that. And it's clear that it comes from a beautiful place of you want to help them. You want to make, you got, your family was very close. What I'm sensing too is that your mom made a really strong impact on you. Same for my mom. Sometimes what happens when single women raise children, they have to be both roles and they have
Right.
such a strong role to play that there's no time for fun. There's only time for them to accomplish and make sure everybody is okay, safe, sane, well fed, at school, educated. There's no time, right? And as the firstborn, it can become that you're like mom number two or sentinel number two, and that's how I get that. It's hard to learn to play because we weren't you're not given the space as a child to play, and then you just don't learn it, right? So your sister had space to be the fun one because you were the heavy, right? She didn't need to be the heavy. There was already, that space was already occupied, and vice versa. Does that seem true?
Mhm.
The The invitation I see to you is to give yourself the space to practice and play, stepping outside of what you have known to this date, your way of showing up to this point, and using that as a way of journeying inwards, using that as a reason to journey inwards and do the work to unlock the pieces of yourself that maybe you haven't been able to authorize to have expression. Does that make sense? What do you think about that?
That's true. Um, and it's excuse me. It's funny because I don't know about you, but even just like my aunts and uncles and all that generation, and this again, I think that's what I think they think, but like we don't speak about our feelings. We don't show emotion, and that's all of us. Like you, and I come from a big family. All have that trait, all of us, and it trickled down to us kids. We just
Begs the question then, how will you keep it from trickling down to your daughter?
talking to her every single day. She gets in the car after I pick her up, even though she's only 3 years old. How was your day? And I know she's gonna be like, I don't know. But just being consistent on it, being open with her, being honest with her. He laughs at me because he's like 3, and I'm like, she's listening. No, she is. She's watching, letting her explore. Mommy, I want to help you cook. Okay, get the small cutting board, get your little butter knife. Help me chop some stuff up. I let her explore. And I see, I have a stepson, huge difference. Well, I don't know if it's because he's a boy, honestly, but we, he, him closed down. I'm like, let him explore. How's he going to learn? You know? Um, do you think she has a credit card? The other day we went to go buy my coffee and she's like, Mommy, use my credit card. I had the cashier pretend to swipe her credit card.
Oh,
Like, you're 3 years old. What the hell do you know about a credit card? But letting her explore, even if it sounds like the craziest thing, because like 3 years old, what is she gonna understand? And I'm like, trust me, she understands. I think that's different. Just having the patience to let her explore and and like the time. Whereas growing up, my mom didn't have time to like let me explore. I just I gotta do it. Let me just get it done. Let me do it myself. Versus like, yeah, sure, come help me.
yeah. What was the impact of not talking about your feelings in your family on you?
Um, not being able to tell my mom certain things, and we're pretty close. But I think the older that I'm getting, we're starting to bump heads. And because if I try to open those doors, it leads into an argument. She just does not talk about her feelings. Probably seen my mom cry like twice in her life. Hardcore. um, it's hard to talk to her. The older I'm getting, the harder it's becoming. We bump heads. That's hard for me.
Yeah. It's an invitation. What would you like to do differently? So we came here to talk about you helping others. Do you notice already the best way you can help others at this moment? Yeah. And your daughter, right? Not just business and daughter, right? We can never take a client deeper than we've been. We can't help somebody beyond something we haven't. If we haven't done it, we can't generally help somebody else through it. And talking about feelings, I get it. My family, I was raised that, and it wasn't something that was explicitly taught. We
Right.
don't talk about feelings. It was just understood
Yes.
that just get it done. Like,
Yes,
it's as simple
exactly.
as just get it done. And I went into a field of technology where you just be logical, explain your stuff. What do you need? And if you can explain it logically, then fine. Except what I learned about myself, and I sense with you, because you, just from the little time that we've had together today, is intellect is one source of energy that I can use to create and have impact, but so is intuition. And the intuitive reception is very much so a feeling, and both can, intellect and intuition can sit side by side. You have to authorize intuition. You have to authorize feelings to have a place. Otherwise, we put a lot of emphasis on intellect and logic, but humans are emotional first. And to train yourself to let them sit side by side is inner work. Does that make sense? Um, so let's say you went forward in a year now, and you came back to me and you said, April, everything I wanted is right on target. And it sounds like you're pretty happy now,
For the most part.
for the most part, right? What's missing right now?
Um, what is missing? That is a whole nother conversation with the person.
Okay.
And I know that it's getting him to realize.
That there's something missing. Okay. Anything else missing?
Being able to talk to my mom without it turning into an argument.
It feels like that's really fresh. Every time you bring that up, it feels like a fresh wave of emotion. Yeah. Anything else missing?
A bigger house and a better car. Which of those things I can work
Well, fair. What stands in the way? Well, two things you mentioned already: relationships, mom and significant other, and then bigger house, better car. What stands in the way of change in the relationships?
on. Other people to be more because I know it. It's just getting them to hop on board, which I don't know how I don't know how to do that. No idea, especially my mom. I think by like a certain age, like I don't know. But I know she had a rough growing up, so that will be up.
There it is, the responsible one. She had it rough. So, no judgment, just noticing, right? There you are, covering. Well, you might be surprised to know, and actually, I want to point it out because you're like, I said, what stands in the way? You said, other people, I don't know how to help them. Responsible one, right? But as we talked about, your beliefs about what you think can impact your actions. There's a lot you can do by shifting your internal way of showing up. You'd be surprised, I bet, you're very influential in shifting other people, but first you have to shift. There's a lot we can do in relationships. Usually, big generalization, we tend to think of leaving. We either have two options, leave or stay. And usually staying means in suffering in some way. When in fact there's a lot of range in between leave and stay that we have agency over to influence. We can't change another person, can't force them, but we can influence. But first we have to know how we're showing up and how that's impacting the other person so we can shift it if we choose. So I just say that as the invitation to take responsibility for you. You're responsible for very many people, but you can actually let go of them to some extent and focus on you and have a tremendous impact on how you influence other people to change. I'm a newlywed. It's my second time getting married. I was married the first time. That went away, got divorced, went through the whole process, married again. And I thought, oh, I'm a veteran. I've been married. I was married for 13 years the first time. So I got this. I don't got it. I got to learn it. New person, right? And the communication. How do I communicate with him in a way that lands versus puts him on the defensive? That was a shift I had to make, and when I'm still making it. But it does have an effect. Thoughts about this?
Yeah, I 100% communication is two-way different communication styles. And I see it.
Yeah.
I know it. And it's hard to navigate, like, how do I do it where it doesn't piss him off, push him away, but doesn't piss me off and push me away?
Yeah.
It's kind of find that fine line for the both of us.
And what stands in the way of a bigger house or bigger car?
Um, Not ready right now. Well, the car's coming soon, like really soon. The house, we're just, she's a little older, needs divorce. I know it's coming. Her room is too small. Like, takes over this house, that little monster. You should see my office right now.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I missed it. What stands in the way then of those things?
Well, the car is coming really soon. Um, Hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And then as far as the house, we're just not financially ready to make that big move. We're good where we're at. We're comfortable. It's not like an immediate need, but it will be a few years.
Okay, so that does that have anything to do with what you joined the call for about helping others, delegating, asking for help? Anything?
No, I'm getting better at it. I hired a house cleaner. Tremendous help. I love her to death. I'm like, why didn't I do this years ago? So that's been super helpful. And saying no to some things, like teaching my stepson how to do his own laundry. Out the way. He folds his own laundry now. Got that out the way. So I'm becoming a better delegator now.
Good for you. Yeah. What's missing in this conversation?
I don't know. I did not expect to cry. I honestly didn't know what to expect.
Okay. Okay.
Refreshing to be able to speak to someone who doesn't know me.
Does it feel safer?
Yes.
So let's notice that, Susan. whether it's me or somebody else. The emotion on the surface when you talk about your mom, emotions always find a way out. And sometimes that's in a healthy way, and sometimes it's not in a healthy way. But I invite you to notice it. And again, whether it's me or someone else, I invite you to find a way to let those emotions have a space. That's also a part of self care and being responsible for you, is to allow yourself to be yourself. And one challenge I had, maybe you have it too, is that there's conflicting emotions with parents. I love you, and you are my biggest source of irritation right now. And I don't want those two things to coexist, but they do. Yeah. And part of that, part of you being responsible for you, is allowing yourself to have all of the feelings. Feels like this conversation feels complete at the moment. Yeah. Okay. So listen, I invite you to reach out if you'd like to talk again. Tell me what your biggest takeaway is from today's call.
My biggest takeaway is that I need to do this more.
And what is this?
Like a little therapy session.
Coaching often feels like that sometimes. I'm not a therapist, just to be
No,
clear,
I know.
but it can feel like that. Um, so I honor you for being willing to play, being willing to talk, being willing to cry. And the reason sometimes it feels like therapy is because this context is very special for allowing you to journey inwards. And you can do that in therapy also. But that journeying inwards is key to unlocking all of the external things we want to create and accomplish. The external and our external world is created from our internal world. Yeah. Thank you.